special presentation for all of you on scaling your OTT infrastructure with Dell Unstructured Data Solutions. As we all know, technology is an enabler and driver of success in the OTT ecosystem. As demand for OTT rises or grows, scaling quickly and efficiently will hold the key to unlock the growth. So this knowledge session will be presented by Dell Technologies Infrastructure Solutions Group, Miss Nancy Dogra. So please give her a huge round of applause. Miss Nancy Dogra is here virtually joined with all of us.
Hello, everyone. So a little introduction about me. My name is Nancy Dogra. I belong to the Infrastructure Solutions Group from Dell Technologies. I am a product specialist for the unstructured data. So those of you who do not know what unstructured data means, so basically all the data that we are storing in the digital world today comes from two categories. One is the structured data, which is our databases. Thank you. Which is our databases, our tabular format data and all of that. And rest, all of that we deal in a day-to-day world. Mostly in the media and entertainment, what we deal with is audio video files, your MP3, MP4 formats, your docs, your PDF files. All of this is broadly classified as unstructured data. And we at Dell Technologies believe in serving the digital transformation of this unstructured data in a way that it gives you a secure, scaled out infrastructure which can grow by demand. So let's go further. So as per the survey by which is done with the top of media and entertainment technology leaders, OTT and mobile platforms are going to be the next big digital transformation initiative in the industry, as you can see from the bar graph. Apart from the other initiatives like 4K or 8K or UHD or IP replication or all the other digital initiatives, OTT is the top of the list. And when we talk about scaling out the OTT, the digital transformation initiatives are very closely aligned with what we have to offer here at Dell Technologies. And what is happening right now is media industry is booming and there's this insatiable need for content. And our consumers are changing every day. More and more content is being produced. And you need a technology which can cater to this ever-growing demand of content. And you need something which can scale on demand for these kind of platforms. Secondly, our resolutions are increasing. We started with HD, then we went to 4K, then we went to UHD. Now we are talking about 8K and beyond. And to process this kind of high-definition data, you need a lot of computing horsepower at the back. Thirdly, your consumption models are changing. And every day there's a new player entering the market, which means your competition is also increasing. And all this is happening when your budgets are mostly flat. And in a media and entertainment industry, IT is a spend. IT is an expenditure. So how can Dell help you to achieve and curb all of these problems with a flat budget is what we want to see. So what do we need to do? We need to have a platform which can scale out first. Secondly, you need to have a secure environment where your data is safe. Thirdly, you need to have a multi-cloud strategy which can give you a pay-as-you-go kind of a platform. And you need to have highly agile solutions which can scale up and scale down as the demand goes, as the gentleman who spoke before me just discussed. And your underlying infrastructure should be such that it should be able to cater to the high performance needs and the high capacity needs as you grow up. Maybe today there's a series which just launched today, and within 1 week, you are hitting like 1,000 or lakh streams or even more. So how do you scale up? And once the demand is gone and you have to scale down again to 10 streams or 20 streams. So your IT manager should not worry about these things. There should be an automated model which should be able to help you to do that. And that is what we do with our unstructured data solutions. So if I talk about the M&E expertise that Dell Technologies as an infrastructure company have, out of 8 top broadcasters worldwide are today using our platform. 2,000 plus media and entertainment customers worldwide are using our platform, be it the Netflix or Disney or Animal Logic of the world. All of them are using Dell platform, both in terms of compute as well as storage. 8 out of top content providers are using our platform today. And in 2020, we were blessed to win a Emmy in the technology category as well. And if you see this wheel, we are all across the media and entertainment ecosystem. Be it's the established use cases like content creation, rendering, MAM, transcoding, be it the IT standard use cases like storing your scripts and data in PDFs or home directories, or be it the emerging use cases like AI ML or trend analysis or analytics. And all of us, we do with our M&E alliance partners. And if you see on the right hand side of this slide, almost every infrastructure solution group along with the ISV partners is there on the list, be it the Adobe or Sony or MobiTV. So all the broadcasters, all the editing players, we have a ISV partnership with them. When I say ISV partnership, what it means in a layman term is our solutions, our hardware solutions are tested in our labs along with these platforms. So when you go out in the market and deploy your solution, you can go for the end-to-end solution along with these ISV partners. So what it means on the ground to have a IT infrastructure which delivers you a OTP. So the first stage is your virtual production, which is either real time or it's the file. So for real time data, you would need compute and you would need storage. And we have platforms to give you both. PowerEdge is our series which gives you high-end compute. These are our high-end servers on which you do all your edge computing. And the backend is our scale-out storage, which is called as Powerscale. To join these both, you have an express network with the help of power switches. So maybe this won't make sense to many of you, but this is the product line that we use to give you an end-to-end infrastructure in your media and entertainment ecosystem. So now, specifically talking about the content delivery in the OTT space, what are the major challenges? As the forum, the people who were discussing before me rightly put it across, that the scaling up or scaling out, maintaining the same SLA is a bigger challenge today because the content is increasing exponentially. And to meet the need in real time, what we end up doing is we end up creating silos of storages in our environment or silos of things. Suppose you have 5 parallel projects going on and each of them has a different demand, performance-wise and compute-wise and capacity-wise. So what you would end up doing is you will create one small environment here, one small environment there, and your IT manager will just get lost in, navigating through this whole web. So it is very important, and this kind of delays your whole process. It delays your project timelines, it costs you revenue, it reduces your capex, opex, your return on investment in the long run. So how do you deal with these kind of problems? So you need a single ecosystem, a consolidated platform, which can process the data in its whole life cycle, which means right from the creation of data to the end of its life cycle when it is delivered to the end user, and then it is archived later on. So you need to have a platform which can scale out, which means it should be scaling out on demand. Suppose today there are 500 users which are watching this content online. Tomorrow after 15 days, the same movie is being watched only by 20 users. So now the compute has to scale down. So you need a platform which can do that on demand. Your IT manager does not have to break his head doing that. Similarly, if your demand suddenly increases, a movie or a series became hit overnight, and now the concurrent streams are from 500,000 users, it's suddenly 1 lakh users. So you should be able to scale up on demand as well. And Dell Technologies enables you to do that exactly with both its compute as well as its storage platform. So for ingest and transcode, along with your high-speed networking, packaging, and delivery, we have our platforms which can help you. So for server, we have something called as PowerEdge. Servers are basically your edge technology which the end user interact with. So if you have a machine on which you are doing all this transcoding, post-processing, that is your edge. And these are our PowerEdge high-speed servers. Then at the back end where you're storing your data is our Powerscale scale-out storage. How this storage and servers interact with each other is through a high-speed network which is on power switches. And lastly, when you deliver it to the end user, it is through our high-definition precision monitors. So if you see, during the whole life cycle of data, Dell Technologies is there with you. So in a typical content delivery workflow, right from when the data is live to the post-processing to delivering it, Dell Technologies can act as a central consolidated platform on which you can store your data. And from this single platform, you can actually service the data during its whole life cycle, right from creation to the final archival, which is generally for the copyright rights or for the long-term retention periods. And what are the important questions that any M&E IT administrator has to ask when he decides what technology to go with? First is, what is your consumption? How that consumption is going to scale out in the next coming 2 to 3 years? What is the bit rate you are going to use? How long you want to store this data? How do you want to secure it? What is the retention you need? How do you classify this data? And when you service it, what kind of bit rate you're expecting? What is the number of concurrent users? So more clear IT administrators with these questions, we are able to give you a more clear solution which can cater to your demands. Now everyone is talking about cloud nowadays. For many, it's a mystery. And when we talk about cloud, all we know about is there are three players. One is Azure, one is AWS, and one is GCP. And these are in our technology world called as hyperscalers. So what do I mean when I say I want to save my data in cloud? Means I do not have a data center in my own premises where I have some machines on which my data is. I am outsourcing this to a third-party provider who will store my data, who will manage it, who will control it. And when I need it back, I need to send a request to this cloud provider to give me that data back. So now on the outside, the story looks very fascinating. Oh, I don't have to manage anything. Everything is managed by the cloud provider. But there's a downside to it. And what is that? Once your data is locked with a vendor, there is a perpetuity and a vendor lock-in you have. Now, when you want to get the data out, you pay for every bit that you get out of that system. And you do not have control over your data anymore. Now, in exchange of this ease of life, you have compromised your security, you have compromised your control, and you have compromised your cost as well to some extent. Because egress costs are really large. And when we talk about media and entertainment workloads, each movie is running in GBs or TBs, high definition videos. So when you egress them back, there is huge hidden charges that are there. So how do Dell changes this story? We provide you the same multi-cloud, but with an on-prem file service, which we call as Apex. What we do is we provide you a single interface. We control everything for you, but in your own premises. We provide you a connector to any of the multi-cloud that you need. And the whole contracting and legal terms, you do not have to do anything. We do it for you, we manage it for you. So you get out of the hassle of the multi-cloud, but you still get the benefit. That is where the Dell can help you. So Apex Multi-Cloud handles three things. First, it gives you simplicity of your infrastructure. You do not have to manage anything. Everything is managed by us right from the infrastructure. Second, it gives you control because it's on your own premises. You have the connector, you have the credentials. You are not on the mercy of your cloud provider. And secondly, it is agile. It can scale up and down and still maintain your SLAs or service level agreements. Means if you want a response time of 5 seconds for a movie to download, it is our responsibility to give you that response time. If we have promised you that 200,000 concurrent users should be able to see this movie online, that is our SLA with you. We will provide you that. So third and very important thing which the gentlemen were talking about is the security. And when we talk about security, it's not only in the logistics space, it's in the IT space as well. As and when your data has a digital footprint, it is prone to attacks and it is prone to cyber attacks as well. So how do you manage your data across the whole landscape, be it structured or unstructured? And cyber attacks are very common nowadays. Ransomware attacks are very common nowadays. And Dell, we have a strategy for cyber resiliency for every kind of data that you have, be it block data, file data, or object data. And how do we do that? Basically, you have a primary site where all your data is coming in and getting stored. We will have a cyber recovery site as well for you. So if the system detects a threat or a ransomware attack, it will create a vault or an air gap in between. It will not let that ransomware travel to the cyber recovery site. And that cyber recovery site is immutable and locked. So all your data is safe. You are not at the mercy of your ransomware attacker. You can still have your data safe and recoverable on the cyber recovery site. And cyber attacks are common across all the industry. Your healthcare data is imminent, your media and entertainment data imminent. Even the OTT platforms are not safe from these cyber attacks or ransomware attacks. And many of us might have read it in news that this cloud provider was hacked or was under a threat of a ransomware attack, or this bank was under a threat of ransomware attack. Recently, Toyota was ransomware attacked and they had to stop the production of their ADAS cars for another 3 months. Then TOI Animation was hacked and they couldn't actually launch their Dragon Ball anime movie for a while. So all these are real life problems, and we sit in our cozy homes and think that they can't come to us. But yes, the cyber world is all open to all kind of threats, and it is very imperative to secure your data with some kind of cyber recovery. So we can actually, with the cyber recovery solutions, recover 1 petabytes of data within hours for you. We can create immutable copy of your data, which is locked once it is reached that cyber recovery site. And once from primary, when it transfers to the DR, the moment the system detects a threat on an AI-based engine, it will not transfer that across, and it will create an air gap in between. And fourthly, it is scalable to multiple clusters. You can have one cyber recovery software and it can work across all your platforms. So how do we do all this? The product at the back end of all this is called as Powerscale, which is our scale out storage. The operating system that runs on top of it is OneFS. So if you are a little tech savvy, you can go down, you can search on Google something called as Powerscale or Isilon, and you will know that how prevalent we are in the media industry, media and entertainment industry. Almost 15 out of 20 movies in the Hollywood are produced on our platforms today. Most of the OTT platforms are running on our platforms. So we are a very known name here. And with cyber recovery, now we have a smart sync data mobility tool as well. So as the data is evolving during the whole life cycle of data, it needs to be stored differently. So suppose today a movie is hit. It is released today, so it's hot. So it needs to reside in a different data layer to cater to that kind of performance or concurrent users. Now, after 15 days, the number of downloads or active live views have reduced. So now it cannot reside in the same high performance tier. So there must be an automated mechanism that this movie will automatically, from the storage standpoint, should transfer to a or tier across to a lower cost storage. So we have a data mobility auto tiering tool, which is called as Smart Sync, which will transfer your data from a file storage to object storage and later to a public cloud. So your IT administrator does not have to worry about these things. He can only focus on your rendering and editing and transcoding and live TV and all of that. So the basic infrastructure we have automated to such a level for you so that it does not become a headache for you. And the next big revolution in the IT industry is going to be the object scale. What exactly is object scale? So traditionally, we are used to storing data as files, which is the traditional way of storing. So all data that you see in your laptop is files. The documents, the audio videos, or the songs, or Excels, or PDFs, it's all file. Now, this data is increasing so exponentially that it is not possible for a Windows or a Mac system to store that data in that hierarchy of folders and directories anymore. Maybe for a few TBs it is okay, but when it grows to exabytes and zettabytes, file is not an ideal structure to store that kind of data. So the technology evolved and we came across with a newer stateless container, which is called as Bucket, which runs over a cloud, and you transfer your data using a protocol called as S3. And all the multi-cloud vendors use this protocol and this bucket to store the data. And this kind of data is called as object data. So when we talk about long-term archival or storing the content over an immortal period of time, we need something as robust as object scale. And as per IDC, object storage is going to be the next big thing in the industry, because everyone for posterity will try to store their data on a platform from where it is immutable and from where it is easily accessible. And object storage is the way to go to it. And we at Dell Technologies have a product called as Dell Object Scale, which you can deploy as a hardware in your data center, or you can have it deployed on your own servers, or you can have it deployed as a software defined storage or as a multi-cloud option as well. So next time when you go take your IT decisions, think of a Dell technology consultant, be ready with your questions so that we can come and give you an end-to-end solution for your media and entertainment workloads. Thank you. I'll open it up for Q&A if anyone has any questions.
Created if the system detects that somebody is trying to, steal the data. At that point, if I want to access the data, do I also encounter the same wall? Or as the owner of the data, I am able to access it? I mean, can that system differentiate between the two?
So when a cyber recovery attack happens, ma'am, or a ransomware attack happens, your primary will get morphed for sure. So you as a user will always connect to the primary, which will not be accessible for the time when that attack has happened. Now, the good news is that because of the air gap, I have a recovery copy in the cyber recovery site. So once the attack is there, my IT person identifies that there has been an attack. He will stop the access to primary and activate the access to that cyber recovery site for you, for the end user. So end user can have an intermittent gap, but he or she will get the access in as per the SLA that have been provided by the technology partner. So generally, when a disaster happens, there's always a service level agreement with the end user that within 30 minutes, I'll bring your cyber recovery site up, or within 1 hour or 45 minutes, whatever is the SLA defined. So based on that, the end user will get the data back from the cyber recovery site.
So I believe you are talking about something of DR setup of your primary site, correct?
DR is different, sir. That's disaster recovery. CR is different. That is cyber recovery site.
Correct.
Yeah. So
do
DR
you
is
have
an
a DR
alternate.
and CR separately
Yes.
placed?
Yes.
Okay, so when a cyber attack happens or in any way your primary site goes down, then it, I mean, where the users gets directed to?
Cyber recovery site.
Always.
Yes.
I mean, it's not only in case of a cyber attack, but if anyway
If there is a natural disaster, if there's a physical harm, if there's a connectivity drop, then the user go to the DR, the
Right.
disaster recovery site.
Okay.
But if it's a cyber attack, then the user goes to the cyber recovery site. In some cases, in some scenarios, people tend to have the cyber recovery and DR at the same location, but that's not a very advisable thing to do. We generally, as a best practice, your cyber recovery site should be different and your DR should be different.
And your data centers are located in India and abroad?
Yes, yes, sir. And we have a lot of Indian partners who we have partnered with to provide you the co-location data centers as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yes, what is the financial layout or logistics for providing such a beautiful storage facility?
Sir, commercials, I'm not from a sales background, so I won't be able to answer that question for you. But you can get in touch with our sales team and they can tell you the commercials
Thank you.
around it.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
I can drop my card to you, sir. So if you have actually a viable technology solution that you're looking at, we can get in touch. Yeah. Sure.
Can you explain the difference between DR and CR again?
Yeah, so primary is your active site where the users are connected. Then DR is your disaster recovery site. Disaster recovery site means if there's a natural disaster, if your primary is down, your power is down in the primary data center, there's an earthquake that happened, there's a flood that happened, so your primary is not accessible. So your disaster recovery site should be in a geographically distanced location, which is not prone to the same attack which the primary can be under. Like generally, many of the big vendors, from an earthquake standpoint, they will actually keep the DR far, far away from the primary geographically. So if the primary goes down, you will go to the disaster recovery site, which is DR. Now, CR is the cyber recovery site. Like if you have a ransomware attack, which can be mitigated later on, but right now the data is compromised. So then you will be directed to the cyber recovery site. So cyber recovery site does not essentially need to be geographically apart. It can be within the same data center or maybe across a few kilometers, but it will give you a resilience against the cyber attacks or ransomware attacks.
And you recommend CR and DR to be separate?
Yes. as a best practice, these two should be different. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. It was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Dogra, and you have opened our eyes to the exciting possibilities for scaling the OTT infrastructure. Can we have a huge, huge round of applause for her, please?